Hello and welcome to Quality Sewing and Vacuums. How do I? My name is Andrea and today we're going to be going over how to finish edges in your sewing. All your projects like your clothing, your bags, but the real question is why? When I first started sewing, I always asked, if I'm the only one that's going to see the inside of this project, do I really need to finish the edges? And I found out quickly that yes, you do want to finish the edges of the insides of your projects. And there's a couple of reasons why. You want to finish them because it does add more stability to the seams of your projects, but your seams will also come unraveled, and that can cause tearing of the seams and fraying and just not very cuteness inside. And growing up, when my mom would help me make projects and things, she would always tell me the inside of your project needs to look as nice as the outside of your project. Okay, come and join me today as I show you 3 different ways that you can finish the edges of your seams inside. Okay, we're going to go over to the overhead machine. And the first thing that I'm going to, not that machine, the camera, I'm going to show you these cool scissors. These are called pinking shears, and they kind of look like a pair of crocodile teeth. They have zigzag in them, and I'm going to take this little piece of fabric right here, and I'm going to show you how these work. Now these are kind of hard to find these days. Usually you find them in grandma's old stash of scissors, you know. So I'm going to show you how this works. You just cut along your edge, like if this was a sewn edge and this was your raw edge, you're going to go right along there and you're going to reposition them like so and put the teeth right back in, and you're going to keep cutting and you're going to reposition your teeth right with the other ones, and you're going to keep cutting. And the reason why these worked so well is because you create little tiny bias cuts when you do this. Okay, I'm going to pull that over there so you can see. Can you see how I have the little jaggedy edge like that? Because I trimmed it like this, you're going to create, like I said, those bias edges, and bias doesn't unravel. So this is an okay way to finish your edge, but you can see how uneven it is, and these scissors aren't the easiest to get sharpened, and the edges, it's just time consuming and it's not very fun to sit there and cut. So I'm going to show you some faster, easier ways. We're going to put grandma's pinking shears aside, but if you don't have any other way to finish your edges, this is an okay way to do it. And every once in a while I will pull out the pinking shears for special occasions, but for the majority I'm going to use a machine. Okay, we're going to hop over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to show you how to finish an edge on your sewing machine. I'm going to wake up my machine here. Now I'm on my FOF, but all of machines have these special little feet that go with them, where it has a little wire that goes down through the main hole, the eye of the foot. And the reason why you want that there, and it has a little guide, that's the edge where the edge of your fabric is going to go and feed through the machine. Okay, I'm going to put my foot back on here. Oh, I'm going to get my thread out of the way. Don't want to lock my thread under the foot. There we go. I'm going to put that back there. I'm actually going to use this fabric. When you do this edge stitch on the sewing machine, you want to make sure that your edge is already nice and clean, that it doesn't look like this with all the hangies off of there. You want to trim it first. So I've already trimmed this piece of fabric right here. And what I have my machine set to is zigzag. It's just number 5 on my machine. It's just a regular zigzag. And I widened the width of it just a little bit. You can make it narrow if you're sewing like small pieces, but if I was sewing regular clothing or bag or something, I set my stitch width to 6.0, which means it's the width of it this way. Okay, so I'm going to get going and I'll show you here. I've got my edge of my fabric right up against this little red part right here. This red part shows me where my wire is back there. And the reason why you want that wire on the outer edge of your fabric is it's going to keep your thread outside on the very edge of your raw edge right there, and it won't scrunch it in. All right. Got that set up, and you just feed it on through. And the machine is going to do all the work. You want to make sure that you have this special foot on here, because if you try to use it with try to do a zigzag on a raw edge with a regular foot, it will be sad. It will all just kind of scrunch up. Okay, look at that. Look at how nice that is. We got this nice clean edge. That little wire kept the thread on the outside, and this is a good way to keep your edges from unraveling while you are working on your projects and finishing up. Okay, so that is one way, but my favorite way is using the serger. So I'm going to take this piece of fabric. Look at how scraggly that is. Look at all those edges and everything. Oh, I don't have to worry about any of those with my serger. And I just got my serger set up here for a regular stitch with the 4 cones. And you don't even have to use 4 cones. I'm going to lift up the foot just a little bit just to get it started. But what I love about the serger is it feeds it in, and it's going to trim that edge all at the same time. And just like that, I have a beautiful finished edge. And this is why I purchased myself my very first serger at 19, because I wanted to get these perfect, lovely edges on the inside of all my garments and my projects that I was working on. Okay, we're gonna flip to the top camera here, and I'll show you the difference between these guys. Okay, the first one that we talked about was the pinking shears here, which helps keep your fabric from unraveling, but takes a long time. Here is a zigzag stitch with that special little foot with a wire in it, and this works well also, but it's not my favorite because it does take a little bit longer. And then we have the serging right here, and you saw it just whipped it right in there, cut off all the raw edges, and now it is beautiful. Okay, so there is technique behind also when and how you should finish your edges on your fabric. I have this little mock, what looks like a little skirt right here. When do you serge or finish 2 edges together as opposed to finishing the edges first and then sewing them together? So if this was a skirt and I needed to put a zipper in this part, I'm going to finish these raw edges first and then sew them together. Here on the edges, they will just be a solid seam, and so I'll stitch it first and then I will serge it. So let's do that. We're going to zip this together with the serger really quickly, the zipper edge. There's one side. And here's the other side, like so. And I have serged those sides first. And then I would need to leave a little space for my zipper. I'm going to switch out my foot really quickly and put this back to a regular stitch. right, oh, that's not the right foot. Hold on. We'll get the right foot in here. There we go. And press on the right foot pedal too. Okay, so I have both of my back pieces for my skirt where I need my little zipper. I can even make a little mark back there. Let's say this is where I need my zipper to go, right here in this top part. I'm going to take these two little pieces, and you can pin them if you like. And I'm going to just stitch up, make a little mock. Where I would start my zipper and keep going. All right, here we go. Okay, so the reason why you want to serge first and then stitch that is because when you go to put your zipper in, are you still on? Yes. When you open it like this, those edges are just going to be beautiful and ready to put a zipper in, right like so. And do you see how wonderful that was? It is really hard to finish these edges once this middle seam is already sewn. So you finish those edges first and then stitch. And then the other way that you would want to do this is to stitch your sides first. If you know you're not going to open your seam for like a placket or a zipper or anything, this is what you'd want to do. We're going to stitch this first. Right like so. And I'll do the other side just because it's there really quick, and we'll make this little doll skirt real fast. And just like that. All right, so we stitched both of the sides here, here and here. And then we're going to go over to the serger or the zigzag. Stitch that side up real fast. Right like that. Stitch the other side. Go over top, trim out our stuff. And now we have, see how fast that was to stitch first and then finish the sides? Then when you, well, if I was at, like, if this was a real big one, a real big skirt right here, you could see how you just press that seam open or to the back here, and then you flip it over to the other side. Like so. Give it a little press like that. And voila, look at our little skirt is ready to go. And that's how you can quickly and efficiently finish all the seams in your project, whatever you may be doing, whether it's a bag or a garment, clothing, outfit. These are just some tips and tricks of how to nicely finish the insides of your projects. All right, thank you for joining me today. I hope this was helpful as you are on your journey of creating your projects, and we'll see you next time.